1st of December, and look at it. I've had to walk here today from my home about 2 miles away. It's taken me just under 2 hours to get here. Not just because it's hard walking, but some of the scenery on the way here and the birds that I've seen have been really good. But I'm finally at the avenue, and I'm quite excited to see what it's going to bring. I've just got onto the site. I'm heading that way towards the ponds, and we'll see what we'll get. But look at it. Truly is a winter wonderland. You can see the River Rother's still flowing nicely. I can see 1 or 2 moorhen and things still using this. I need to get these bird tables filled up. Now, this is the lockup where we keep the bird food. This is going to be interesting.
Most of the seed and peanuts has been kindly donated by the Chesterfield and North East Derbyshire Wildlife Trust local group. This generous donation has made a huge difference to the birds in this really difficult and harsh winter.
Could be a couple of days before I get a chance to come down again, so I'll put the extra on today.
I know I keep going on month after month about filling these tables, but you can see from these conditions that ground feeders like dunnocks, chaffinches, yellowhammers wouldn't stand a chance of finding any food. And we really are rewarded for our efforts. Species like yellowhammer and reed bunting, which are on the RSPB's red list because nationally they're struggling, can be found in great abundance on the avenue. In extreme weather conditions like this, we put extra seed out on the tables. You look at this scene of the main reed bed pond, and what on earth are the water birds finding to eat?
Moorhen that's walking across the water doesn't look very healthy. Right raggedy.
The avenue does offer a lifeline to the water birds, in the form of the duck marsh pond.
Now, amongst all this snow and frozen ponds, we're very lucky that the area you're looking at now with the duck marsh pond, this pond's actually fed from underground. So the water that comes up is slightly warmer and the pond doesn't freeze over at the far end there. So it still gives the birds somewhere where they can get to fresh water. As you can see, the snow's kept coming. The bird tables still need filling up. And this will keep them going for 24 hours or so.
Within seconds of putting out the food, this little chap finds a peanut. This could have been his first meal for a few days.
Now, the weather had improved over the last week or so, but forecasts were for more snow, so it was vital that we kept coming out and filling up these tables. And it shows how desperate birds are for food at the moment. This great spot of woodpecker that is normally so shy was sat waiting at the top of this tree for me to finish putting out the food. With so little food available, it's not surprising that little squabbles break out.
Actually 3 great spotted woodpeckers.
This blackbird, like its cousins the redwing and the fieldfare, is also probably a winter visitor to these shores. A blackbird that was ringed here at the avenue in the winter of 2009 turned up just a few weeks later, alive and well, in Denmark.
This redwing has found a bush with berries on. Lots of them.
They really are a most welcome winter visitor.
The male and female reed bunting can be difficult to tell apart sometimes in winter, but as it molts into its breeding plumage, the head of the male and the cheeks turn black, making it easily distinguishable.
A bird that you can never tell the difference between male and female is a robin.
See a chaffinch there just come to visit. The willow tits have arrived now as well. He's been up and down. Thought it were a bit quiet, this bird table.
We spotted this sparrowhawk. These will always hang around wherever you find birds feeding. As we arrived on Mill Lane, we found these feathers, evidence that the sparrowhawk had made a kill.
As the snow starts to clear, ground feeders like this dunnock can now find food.
You've got a dunnock typically foraging on the ground, particularly at the foot of bird tables.
As the end of December draws closer, it's nice to know that birds like this yellowhammer have made it through the worst.
Yeah, it's a common gull.
Despite its name, this is only the second common gull I've ever seen at the avenue, the first being about 3 years ago. To help identify it, look for a dull yellow beak and towards the end of the bill, a black ring.
So I ended up working at the shop on my own for 2 days before Christmas. Oh, it's just been horrible. Yeah, I rang BTO as well and actually spoke to the BTO, and they said, I mean, one of the favourite things is frozen peas. A bag of frozen peas, let it defrost, mash it up so they're absolutely mad for it, ducks and geese. So put any kind of leftover vegetables, as long as it's well cooked and soft, so they'll go for it.
It's floating anyway.
Yeah, one of them says they're all.
The temperature is so cold today. Before the water has managed to run off the back of this coot, it's frozen to its feathers. Cooked vegetables that have gone nice and soft can make a nice supplement for water birds in harsh conditions. This heron's taking advantage of some I put out earlier.
Absolutely do.
Small birds such as these goldfinches can sometimes struggle in really harsh winters, but numbers don't seem to be too bad, and birds like these long-tailed tits seem to be okay too. The redpoll is becoming an ornithologist's nightmare. This one is a lesser redpoll, and these have become a regular visitor to the reserve in winter. We have had visits from the rarer mealy redpoll, but the records of these birds are normally of individuals amongst the flocks of the more common lesser redpoll. It can be a difficult bird to get to grips with. With the redpoll being separated into different species and subspecies, it gets harder and harder, but with good views and a little knowledge it is possible, so don't be put off. They are a bird of the northern forests, but their breeding range is getting bigger. Winter can see a large influx of these birds from northern Europe, along with other birds like this siskin. As more people start to feed birds in their gardens, the siskin is becoming a common visitor, especially to bird tables and in particular nut feeders. I think the tree creeper is one of my favourite birds of the avenue, and they can be mainly found along the side of the River Rother. Whenever I come across one, it always makes me smile, and they don't seem to be bothered by my presence at all. It's a determined bird, and it's only got one thing on its mind, and that's finding food. It's constantly working its way from the bottom of one tree to the next in search of small insects and spiders. This kestrel was overlooking us early one morning as we were setting up for another ringing session. Little did I know at this stage just how close I'd get to this particular falcon.
And then get it in the cradle. However suits you really, sit on it, whatever you want to.
Get off.
You'll astride it.
Right. Come around it, yeah. That way, is it that way?
Well, yeah,
then-
whenever you can get to a wing,
Then
then that's it.
swap hands with
Swap
the
hands
feet.
with it.
That's
Then
it.
you've got a wing to go out.
Yeah.
Breast orange, yeah. Primaries are beige in early autumn. Oh, that's not good.
I was surprised just how calm this bird was during
It's
processing,
an adult male.
and as ever appreciated the words of encouragement from my colleague Dave.
Right. See if you can let it go without having your face off.
Appreciate it. You ready, fella?
Yeah.
There you go. Nicely done.
It's Boxing Day. Still very cold. Hello. You can see how desperate the birds are. There's a blackbird. It has a ring on it, funnily enough. I don't know this one of the ones that we've rung, but it shows how desperate they are for food. I'm stood here, and that blackbird is 5 feet. I can't stop smiling now. A fantastic experience. Got a couple of robins and a dunnock now appearing in the bushes just behind me. I don't know whether I'd dare turn around and pick my food up, scare it off. That's a gorgeous male yellowhammer. There's quite a few sitting round at the moment. Just patiently waiting for their turn at the table. I've been down here since about 7 o'clock this morning. We did a ringing session earlier on. But I've been hanging around all day trying to see these whacked wings, and I've had no luck whatsoever. It's now about 2:45 and I'm freezing. And I'm not eating yet, so I'm going home. Got a hot meal.
This grey wagtail was a pleasant surprise. They used to breed on site, but I haven't seen one for about a year. I could have stayed here for ages watching this bird, but I need to get on. The last Sunday of the month brings another volunteer working party. But for our safety and their safety, these boys need to be moved out of the way.
We're going that way, or we're staying here, what are we doing?
You have the fire here again? Yeah.
You'll just skate across the pond, do you?
As long as you can do it with grace and style, yes. Yeah, well they've got a...
Next month we get a closer look at the redpolls. We have a bit of a clean-up job in the River Rother, and we have to repair some woodpecker damage and get the nest boxes ready for next year's breeding season.